Okay, I think others might be joining, but the beauty of this moment in technology is that we can record this and share it with those who aren't able to attend. Some of you are putting your names and where you're at and your connection to the college in the text chat, which is great. And before we jump in, I just wanted to say happy Merry Solstice to all, whether you're in the global north or south, southern hemisphere, got the long days and sunlight, and those of us in the northern hemisphere, the darkest day is upon us. The light will be returning. It's very lovely. And so maybe just before we properly jump in, we can do a Schumie kind of tradition of just having a moment to take a couple deep breaths, eyes open or closed, and then we will proceed and carry further into this fine, sweet little Roots and Shoots solstice gathering. So go ahead and just take a moment, deep breath, see what you can hear around us in your quiet moment of grounding. All right, let's just jump right in. Um, Thank you all for joining or tuning in and listening to this, whatever future present moment you're in. I'm Joe Colhane, excuse me, one of the network weavers for the Schumacher Global Network, which mostly lives on Hilo right now, but across the world in various places. And we thought it'd be good to just have a check-in at the end of this calendar year at this solstice time to see what roots and shoots and tendrils of Schumacher are living throughout the world and take an opportunity to highlight the upcoming things that are reasons for kind of optimism, hope, excitement for what is coming in this time of death, birth, rebirth, regeneration. And we'll have time to kind of go around and maybe thank you all for adding your names and where you're at and who you are in the side chat. But we're just going to jump right in on a casual gathering here, excitedly with Jay Tomt and Emma Kidd discussing some of the updates around Schumacher Wild and maybe a glimpse into the kind of vision for the new home of the Schumacher College as well. And it'll be a nice, spacious little time together. And Jay, if you wanted to maybe just share a few words and let everyone know what you had in mind, that'd be great. And yeah, this is just gonna be, let's just have a nice casual time together. I feel like personally, energetically, there's a lot going on. Personally, family level, politically, socially, ecologically, so much. So let's just take it easy and have a nice time here and maybe build a little more bonds between us as we carry forth into this new cycle. So thank you all for joining. Jay, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for organizing. Thanks everybody for coming. So it's not just going to be me who's talking now because Emma's is going to join me. I think everybody knows both of us. Is there anybody? Well, I haven't met everybody, but I guess
Right.
maybe Emma, we just say a couple words about us. I'm Jay Tomt. I've been teaching the Regenerative Economics program for the last 4 something years, 5 years or so. And and now I'm part of the Schumacher Wild effort. And Emma?
Hey, I was a student at Schumacher, first of all in 2008 on the Holistic Science program, and then I have been teaching on the MA in Ecological Design Thinking for the last 2 years, and I have now found myself also involved in the Schumacher Wild efforts.
So what we thought we would try to do is kind of catch everybody up. Um, it's been, I think it's fair to say, a whirlwind with various degrees of turbulence and whirl and all kinds of other stuff mixed in ever since about September of last year. And these last few months have been just crazy because the reality of the existential nature of this crisis really hit home. So um, I'm just going to say a couple words about what we're trying to accomplish with our efforts now. We're going to say a little bit about kind of where we are at this moment, what's coming up, and then we thought we could break up into small groups to consider some questions and then kind of wrap it up by sharing at the end. And I think Satish is going to join at the top of the hour. So we'll want to be ready for that. So, Emma, should I just do some talking and just be ready for a hand signal from you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. All right. So, what are we trying to accomplish? Well, um, I think the first thing is to stay alive. And we also see that it will be important for us to reinvent the college. We're not going to be at the old postern anymore, unless we are. Who knows? It's a crazy world, and we can maybe say a little bit more about the craziness. Um, but regardless of where we are, I think it became pretty clear that we need to do things a little bit differently for a variety of reasons, and to do a variety of things differently. I think especially in terms of how accessible the college is and the learning experiences that the college has been offering and may offer again. Accessibility is key. Diversity is also key. Another key thing is has to do with the workers and how the place operates from within. Um, we want to be aligned with the kind of values that we're professing, and we want to be aligned with the kinds of things that we're teaching. Um, this also extends to the wider community. So um, we're very open, and we're going to ask you to chip in some ideas in a minute. But I think what we already know is that we need to be open and engaged with the local community like we've never been before. We need to be part of the local community. And we also need to be open to the world in a way that we haven't been before. So we know that we're a place-based thing. Um, and there are many places around this earth, and the earth is our home too. So we want to engage with questions about that sort of thing. Um, in any case, this process of reinventing the college is going to be an ongoing one, and it's certainly going to be right at the top of our agenda for this next year. The second thing that goes right along with that is reinventing the curriculum, reimagining, well, what is needed in these times? Are we needed? Do we have something to offer? We think we do. We've got 32 years of sort of organizational wisdom uh, built into the DNA of the college. What of that is still uh, of value, and what of that is still of service? And what else? What do we need to learn? I think in a way, the faculty who was left, um, Emma, myself, Mona, Valentin, Rachel, Roberto, and I'm probably forgetting somebody's name, but you know, we're imperfect vessels for that tradition, which is now part of our tradition that we are drawing upon. So um, we've we've had some amazing sessions between us where the various things that we bring have a chance to how do I put it, interact uh, and mesh with each other in ways that we've never done before either. We're now talking about transdisciplinarity in a way that we never did before, and we think this is really key to whatever it is that we take forward. And we're gonna really try this out in our new foundations course, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So in this reimagining the curriculum, we really do want to go wild, and so part of this going wild means going out and about and asking the questions of people. Hopefully, questions of people who we would never normally come into contact with. And so we're going out into the world, and we're going out into our bioregion, and we're going out around the country, and we're going to be running little courses and little experiments and finding ways of engaging people with some of these questions so that we can learn and really in a humble way, but in a really sort of rigorous way, um, you know, serve this inquiry and pursue this inquiry. So all along the way, we want to make new friends. We want to strengthen the friendships we have already. We want to find ways of connecting with alumni wherever they are, however they are. We want to find new collaborators, and we want to make new partnerships with folks. And all of this will hopefully make sense as the months go by. We're trusting that that things will work out in a way that we do when we have a bit of an understanding, and perfect as it may be, of complexity and how things unfold when you engage in a way that's sort of honest and authentic. So that's what we're trying to achieve at this moment, alongside developing a business plan that can help us raise the money to buy a new campus. So that is in the works. It's very early days on that process. We hope to be done with the business plan in April. We've got some folks waiting in the wings to see it and to be impressed by it. And hopefully that will unlock some of the funds, or maybe all the funds that we need. But you know, this is a long and winding road, and we really do need the wind at our backs and lots of friends around to help us and to chip in.
There's a question in the chat, Jay, from Rachel, and it's
the current setup.
What is the current setup? So I can speak to that a little bit, Rachel, and then maybe you can let me know if you would like it expanding on if I've missed something. So the current setup, I would say, is a group of former staff and recent alumni who's sort of there at the physical ending of this in September, and who have been working to be custodians, if you like, for a possible future. So there's no set shape on that yet. There's no set form. As Jay just mentioned, there's going to be a business plan developed after Christmas, which we will be seeking external help on, and lots of stakeholder engagement. Of course, alumni will be a really important one of those, as well as the local community, potential new partners in the kind of, or others in that sort of holistic education ecosystem. So a lot of very rigorous research will be done after Christmas to help shape a business plan of intention. So it's not even then at that stage that it will necessarily be fixed and immovable. There will be space within that. So intention strong enough to secure some really strong funding, but then still with movement and fluidity in on that for it to be shaped and find its way into something that is fit for the future.
So where we are now is the Satish Kumar Foundation is the legal vehicle facilitating this move toward an independent new college. Mona is one of the directors, along with John Ray, who was former head of Schumacher College, and Madayo Kali, who is, I think he's the executive director of the Salvia Foundation. And they're really good friends and are backing this effort. Not without conditions, of course. And it's proven to be just fantastic in many ways. I think without their help, we probably wouldn't be on this call right now. So, so what we're going to do is to develop this business plan, and through that process, we'll have a better idea of how some of the legal models might resolve themselves. So there's the Satish Kumar Foundation. There very likely will be another legal organization that owns the new property. There'll be a new legal organization for this new college. Those are all things to be determined as we go through the process. But to get there, we have to stay alive. So we have the new website, which if you haven't seen, it's schumacherwild.org. We have a brilliant new, well, I should say before I say anything else is that it's a brilliant website, thanks to Georgie and Emma, of course, and Sarah Hawkins and Mona. It's a big team effort, and it looks fantastic. And I think it's very soon going to be populated with all kinds of wild courses happening all over the place. We have a brilliant newsletter, and how's that for timing? Just as I mentioned it, Emma, you put it in the chat. So if you're not on this emailing list, then please add yourself and please share it widely with whoever you think will be interested. We're recruiting now for the new Schumacher Foundations course, and you can see a pretty comprehensive explanation of what that's all about on the website. It's a move toward this new curriculum and toward this transdisciplinarity that I was talking about earlier, and we're very excited about it. We've got some people who have already expressed their interest in joining the course. We could use a few more, so please help us get the word out about that. And then what's coming up will be more courses. So we'll be doing, in March, we'll be doing a sort of launch festival in Totnes. And we hope that is something that has a big, sort of resonance here in this area. We hope to be doing lots of little experiments and prototypes in our bioregion. We're looking at doing slightly longer short courses too. And so perhaps we'll be doing one in Stroud, perhaps in London, in Yorkshire. And we're looking to do these abroad too. So we're talking to our friends in Amsterdam, in Greece, in Portugal, France, US, Japan, and maybe also we'll do something in China. So we're doing our best to get out there and to do it in ways that are smart and inexpensive. What else is coming up? That's probably enough for now. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything really important here, Emma.
No, I think that covers it. And just to say that the new Schumacher Foundation program is a pretty exciting, I'm going to call it an experiment, um, that emerged at the beginning of this year, and it was in response to losing the formal higher education accreditation from Plymouth last September. And so we began asking of ourselves, well, how might we offer kind of postgraduate quality education without that sort of formal framework? And how might we do that together? So we, as faculty, we just sort of started to gather and started to dream and wonder and see the ways in which our um, practices or thoughts just resonated naturally, and then the foundation sort of frame has come out of that. So I'd love you to have a look at that. Like we've structured it around 3 modules that are processed based, and there's sort of a thread running across them. So module 1 is called Encountering. It's all the sort of phenomenological, paying attention to the way in which we see sort of meta cognition, meta awareness, leading into module 2, which is more of a dialogue. So that attention then kind of reaches out. And then module 3 is interacting. So we're really sort of then out again in the community or sort of in a wider social group. So if you want to have a look at that and send us any thoughts on that, or that would be, yeah, I'd be up for that.
Speaking of asking for your thoughts, what we thought we would do is break up. Oh, and nice one, Joe. Thank you. Um, we thought we would break up into little groups, and Joe, maybe leave me out of the little breakout groups. I don't know if you want to be into Emma or out. Um, and if you could just consider these questions, these 4 questions. What kinds of knowledge, skills, and learning environments do individuals, communities, and leaders need to address the challenges of the 21st century? How can we reimagine our curriculums, learning activities, and educational environments to better meet those needs? How might we make that learning more accessible, innovative, and inclusive? How can we work together to decenter the knowledge hierarchy that still remains at the center of most modern societies and educational institutions? If you have better questions, please consider
Yeah,
those.
also. Yeah,
This is
feel free to
just,
hack the questions.
yeah, hacking is encouraged.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, for the next, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, kick around some ideas, and please click on that link to the Google Doc and note anything that you think is worth noting, and we'll throw that into the hopper with all the other bits of information and other inputs that we're gathering. And then when we come back, we might share a little bit, might catch you up on the state of the negotiations and, uh, you know, anything else, any questions that you might have about anything, and we can field those until Satish comes. Great. Okay.
What do you think about time-wise? I think you said it, but just there's always too little or too much, It's like
Well,
just a little
it's
teaser here.
never enough. So let me say this. This is really just the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
So
And maybe
if
for those who are listening in the future recording, they can go to that doc too and add their thoughts as
Mhm.
well.
for sure,
We want as
Lovely.
many voices as possible.
for
Yeah.
sure, and we'll do more of these kinds of things. And if some of you are really, motivated, you can send any of us an email, and we can engage that way too. So we're as open as we can possibly be. We're only limited by capacities and time, but our intention is there to be super open and engaged with everything. Okay, so maybe 15 minutes, Joe, and then we can
Cool.
have 15 minutes at the end.
That sounds great. I am starting them now. See you all shortly.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Um, I hope you got it all sorted. Great. So we just have a few minutes. Thank you so much for doing that. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're going to try our best to do things like this as many times as we can. Um, Maybe just for the next few minutes, we can just sort of popcorn anything that you want to share with the group that you thought might be worth sharing. Jorn.
Bjorn?
I One thing that came up with us was a clear need for guiding transitions well and reimagining the cause and world and action and reflection and being and sort of spaces for transforming the being side into an action side that is not only happening in a bubble, but it happens in the world, transforms and like really is transformational research and transformational learning for internally and for the community. But then is also guided well emotionally and with all the kind of support systems and transitional, and maybe there's new competencies needed for like bridging capacities, like transformational capacities we haven't explored so far as holding this well.
Wow, that sounds really rich. I hope you wrote that down. Um, I think this is something that comes up quite often. You articulated it in a very rich way. Um, Thank you for that.
Just to add to that, a while back, we like when I was at the college, I started thinking about higher education and transformative education as a kind of rite of passage in itself, and the sort of tools. And there is knowledge, there's ancient knowledge on these kinds of transformations. And so drawing on this alongside reimagining how action in the world and higher education kind of forms might be a path worth exploring.
Lovely, thank you.
So a couple of things that I've heard elsewhere from others. One is opportunities to put the learning into practice, and that might emerge for us over this next year and a bit in various ways. And another is more ritual, and maybe this kind of speaks to your oh, whatever it is, you just rites of passage. I could imagine some awesome Schumacher rituals. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Rachel.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize quite how strongly I felt about this, but I've had 2 years at Exeter doing a part-time food studies masters, which is a very interdisciplinary transdisciplinary course with different aspects, and is rooted in the seat of it is quite a kind of small radical corner of Exeter University, believe it or not. And I suppose for me, there's a couple of things that actually making our one from my experience of Schumacher is my personal experience of Schumacher is actually making anything that goes forward accessible, genuinely accessible to everybody. And I said this in the group, so it's not just privileged people who can afford the courses or afford to buy the food in cafes, that we actually make ourselves relevant by going out and being part of the community and influencing. And I understand how difficult this is, but influencing some of the head, hand, and heart stuff in practice with people, because I think spaces are starting to open up for people to feel feel better, into practices, into being grounded, into understanding more about their food and where it comes from, and appreciating locality and seasonality. All sorts of things around that would be one thing, so that actually things are very, very practical and they're making a difference. We need that difference to be made in their lives. And Jan's project at the Ward Garden, where she had veterans in, who came into her therapeutic brain, was such an exquisite example of that. So that's a big area that I think feels really important. And from my experience at Exeter at the university there, is that my course convener and 2 or 3 of the lecturers that are in the heart of that, very open to learning from their students, and actually said at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, they would learn as much, if not more, from us as we would learn from them. And actually having that sense of genuinely inclusive learning. And again, it was, people from different ages and different backgrounds, and hearing and recognizing those things, so that it, and I think it feels to me a very important way of shifting the kind of, the learning model. And I know Schumacher is a bit different to standard academia, but that really seeing and hearing people's experiences as part of that. And I think that's also a good way to kind of reduce, in terms of the academic appetite backside end of things, of which there is a lot, and having sort of been on the rough end of some of that at Exeter, I've got quite strong feelings about that too. So, although my experience in food studies was nothing but totally positive, and I think there are lots of interesting contacts and people around here that would be interested in some practical projects hooking up with Schumacher.
Yeah, that's really wonderful.
Said quite a lot there.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you. And that's how we're framing the new Schumacher Foundation from the off. Is this kind of co-learning experience, and a particular area of interest for me, and more generally beyond Schumacher Wild even, is how might we be a bridge to meet academia where it's at right now, because there are so many pioneering individuals or departments. So I met an incredible group on J2, incredible group of Japanese academics at the end of the summer. And they sort of had a taste of some of the stuff that happens at Schumacher and the way in which we go about it. And they're like, how can we integrate this in our departments? So if anybody wants to have a conversation about that, I'm always up for that. Yeah, how do we begin to give back to education itself more broadly? I see Satish is about to emerge.
Maybe we should just wrap up for now.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Satish.
Hello. Nice to see everybody.
Lovely to see you.
Wonderful.
So just before we hand it over to you, Satish, I was just going to say to everybody, thanks. We just have been in a session talking about Schumacher Wild for about the last 45 minutes or so.
Wonderful.
Yes, and I was just going to encourage everyone to follow our social media.
Yes.
And that means the Satish Kumar Foundation social media, the Schumacher College social media, the Schumacher Wild social media. Keep your eyes out for January. We're gonna be sort of officially launching with lots of posts and things like that. So please do what you can to share and reshare. And
Yes.
we're also still trying to negotiate. Yeah.
So just give me a little brief, Jay, what you have discussed in the last 45 minutes, just briefly, so I have a little context.
Well, we've just been talking about Schumacher Wild and what we're trying to accomplish. So we're trying to keep the college alive. We're trying to also be in a process to reinvent the college and reimagine our curriculum.
Yes.
We have developed the new website, schumacherwild.org. We are now promoting and recruiting for our new Schumacher Foundations course.
Yes.
And there will be little wild courses and experiments happening all over the UK and our bioregion, and also in other countries.
Wonderful.
And then we're in a bit of a brainstorm collectively about what the new college might look like and the new curriculum. So we're just wrapping up, and that's it. So you've come at a perfect time.
Oh, good, good. Is Mona part of it, or is she away? I don't
Just
see
me
Mona.
and Jay today.
Yes.
Yeah, Mona is with her family now in Iran.
Okay. Okay, in Iran.
And
Yeah. Good.
yeah,
Good.
and
Good.
so
Good. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
yeah, we miss her
Good.
already.
No, that's a wonderful. I'm so delighted to see you all, and you are helping and leading and encouraging all the good things to make Schumacher College Wild come alive, and and I am going to do a course at Hookwood College on radical love, which will be part of Schumacher Wild, and we already got some dates for Ian McGilchrist in September. I don't think we have yet got a location decided. Mona is going to suggest some location. She's looking into it. But we are going to have a course with Ian McGilchrist and myself in September. And that's the dates are fixed with Ian is ready, but location has to be fixed. And also, John Ray is still in negotiation with Dartington as how to acquire the brand name of Schumacher College and the intellectual property and the library and the database. So I think John Ray is in negotiation with Dartington. I don't have up-to-date information, but he is in contact. And and so I think things are moving in the right direction in a slow way. So there'll be a little bit of break over Christmas and New Year, but in the new year, I think we will be starting something very good. And so seeing all of you on the screen and being participant and helping, supporting, keeping the idea alive is all very encouraging, very inspiring, very heartwarming. And so thank you for participation and thank you for your blessings and your support. Um, that's all as a preliminary sort of comment. But if you have any questions or anything you would like me to share, please guide me.
Satish, thank you so much, and happy solstice to you. Um, I think one thing some people probably would love to hear from you, two things perhaps. One is, this new college and the potential place in Devon at the real estate. Excuse me. But maybe more to what I've had the good honor of talking to you briefly about with the University of the Future, and as we were saying, maybe the University of the Present, and like the more decentralized education around the world that you envision. If you wanted to share a little more about that
Yes,
too, how
yes.
the
I mean,
seeds.
there are two things simultaneously. One is having a place in Devon. We are still hoping that that will materialize. And the real estate is, as most of you know about it, it has got 80 acres of land and 25 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms in the farmhouse and 20 bedrooms outside. They are all sort of nice. I've seen it, nicely done. So that's a kind of idea that we should acquire it, but it will require 3 to 4 million pounds to raise. So money has to be raised, but that is the potential. So that's one idea that we should acquire and have a base in Devon, like a home base. But at the same time as Schumacher Wild, so that should be an international network of like-minded, kindred spirit people who are working towards more regenerative ecological, holistic education and practice, living education of head, heart, and hands. So ideas, but also practice. And so people who are engaged in such activities around the world. Already Schumacher Sprouts in Belgium and Escola Schumacher in Brazil and Bandana Shiva's place in India and Schumie Garden in China. There are already Schumacher inspired places already there. So they are part of it. But we should have more other groups who are maybe not Schumacher inspired, but doing similar work. So if we can create a network, decentralized, self-managing, self-organizing, self-funding, but working and helping each other with ideas, information, and a kind of support and a connection and solidarity and all that. So that way, a kind of network of learning centers around the world and practice centers around the world, and having a website maybe so that all those people who are in it are listed in one place, and what courses are going, what events are happening, what they are offering, all that is listed on the website. So having a base in Devon and having connections with around the world, there are two sides of this university of the future, which is ecological, holistic, regenerative, and practice as well as ideas based. So that's a kind of thinking, but it's all still a kind of thinking ideas. They have to be more kind of crystallized, and all of you have to put some input in it, the how we do it and how it should be done. So everybody needs to be a kind of part of it to develop this idea further. But the seed of idea is to create these two, having a base in Devon and having a network of centers around the world. This is the kind of idea of the university of the future.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions for Satish or thoughts to share?
Any questions?
Satish, you were in Taiwan recently. I was wondering, how did
Yes.
that go?
Yes, I was in Taiwan. Actually, I was in Asian tour. So first I went to Japan, and I was 10 days in Japan. A Radical Love book was translated and published in Japanese, and also Radical Love film with Japanese subtitles distributed now in Japan. And so that was premiered in Tokyo. So I was 10 days in Japan, and I was in Tokyo, Kyoto, Hiroshima. It was very nice to be back after 60 years in Hiroshima. And I met some of the people I met 60 years ago. The one lady still in 90s, still there. So it was very good to see her and many other people. So that was very nice. And then from there, I went to India. Bandana Shiva has a very nice place, about 25 acres of land and about 40 bedrooms, and it's a very nice little, she calls it Earth University. So it's a very nice, it's inspired by Schumacher College. And because Bandana has been teaching at Schumacher College, she was inspired by Schumacher College to start a center in the foothills of Himalayas, Dehradun city, near Dehradun. And so I was there, about 40 students from around the world, particularly about good group from Japan, but also from various different countries. So that was about 40 people there, and we were 1 week. Gandhi's ideas of triple peace: peace within, peace with people, peace with nature. So that was the subject matter of the course, and it was very, very nice. And then from Delhi, I went to Taiwan, and in Taiwan, I gave a few talks in Taipei and in two other cities, and had a wonderful tea ceremony with Wu Day. He's a great tea master. And then I went to participate in the 15th annual international conference of permaculture. There were 400-500 people there from around the world. Lots of people from Australia and Japan and India and other countries, particularly Asia, but also America and Europe. And so it was a wonderful conference, permaculture, and very nice. So that was there. And so I was about 5 days in Taiwan, and then I came back to England. So it was a whole 5-week tour of Japan, India, and Taiwan.
Lovely.
very nice. And everywhere, people are very supportive. They are looking forward to Schumacher 2.0 and a new birth, rebirth, and everybody is very supportive, very enthusiastic, and they want to also give some money and so on. So it's very good. Anyone else would like to ask any question or make any comment?
What's your secret to having so much energy all the time, Satish?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that energy, in a way, I think, comes from always not just looking at the problem, but looking at the solution. Because in life, we always have problems. Life is not free of problem. Like in our body, health is always an issue. And we always have something. Either you get a bit of lack of sleep or headache or some cough or cold or something. So in the same way, life always has problems as well. And so we always look towards health and see what can we do if I have a headache, if I have a cough, I have a cold, I have fever, I have something. What can I do? What is the solution? In the same way, if you have problems, like we have problems at the moment with Dartington and Schumacher College, so we have to look at the solution. And we are all doing that. You are all part of that solution. So looking at the solution gives you enthusiasm and a positive energy, and that is a kind of good way. Otherwise, if you just dwell on the problem, that depressing. So I'm always looking for solutions. That's where the energy comes from. And the other source of energy is not worry. I don't worry. I just act. Do what I can, and then results are not in my hands. Results are in the hands of the universe and the future. But action is in my hand. So always act and act and act and do your best in the service of humanity and in the service of our precious planet Earth. And no any selfish motive, but just in the service offering. So if I do that, I always have energy. I'm 88 and I am not tired. And I'm not retired. Not tired, not retired, but refired. Thank you. Any other comment?
Thank you, Satish.
Well, I'll just jump in, Satish. Thank you. I love that. Those are very inspiring. And you recently did a nice little video plug for our Hilo group, which I just wanted to thank you for because there is this Schumacher Global Network where, while there's no physical college and Schumacher Wild is in this birthing process, we have this place to connect and build projects together. And I know you only have a limited amount of time here to be on the call, but I just wanted to say that one of the projects we're excited to do that might help with this University of the Future is a global action
Yeah.
research project
Yeah.
that some of our Schumacher, fellow alumni are going to help take on. And two of those are network weavers for that global network, Ahmed and Jörn here. And, after you kind of closed up here, we're going to share and highlight that. And I guess I just wanted to say thank you again for just your inspirational invitation for everyone to join us there. Because while it is another technological platform for people to get used to and understand, it has the ability to see us around the world in such a beautiful way and map this amazing 20. I mean, there's 20,000 people. We have about 400 signed on to the project so far. But as more and more people get on there, we can see what projects are happening. Escola Brazil, Siendo Naturaleza, Efecto Mariposa, all these places. And the more we build that visual aid, the more we see how incredible the legacy of Schumacher College, Stefan Harding, and of course you, Satish, has been. And so, I'm kind of saying thank you, and also just wanted to introduce Ahmed and Yearn into this conversation and update because there's a really exciting opportunity for us to all get involved in a project that can support everything that's happening from here. And I don't know if Ahmed or Yearn, you wanted to say anything. about that just before Satish signs off. But yeah.
No, thank you. That's a very wonderful. Thank you. And I will be going to France in April. There is an event, a conference called Change Now. It's quite an annual event, and also part of that will be for good leaders. Marcelo Palazzi is participating in that. So I'll be going 3-4 days in Paris, and so I'll be hoping to promote and gain support from our French participants and French supporters. So that's one project in April. Then in September next year, I've been invited to go to America, United States, Boulder, Colorado. There's a Dhamma garden in Boulder, and they have 5 acres, and they are community supported garden and voluntary and so on. Very nice. So they are very supportive of Schumacher College, Schumacher Wild. And so they have invited me, so I'll be going there and maybe raising some support and funds and so on. So I'll be in America as well. And so those are the couple of events happening. And otherwise, we will be doing this course in Hawkwood College and a course with Ian McGilchrist. So things will keep happening, and we'll keep the idea of Schumacher Wild and Schumacher worldwide, and also real estate. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get it. Okay. Anyone else would like to say anything? Otherwise, I'll say, yeah, I've got another 15 minutes still in my free time. But if anybody wants to say something or ask anything, please contribute. Okay. All right. And if there are no other comments or questions, I would like to just express my gratitude and my thanks to you all for your support and your friendship and your love for me and for Schumacher College and for our planet Earth and our humanity and all our work together. So thank you, and let's keep going on our journey of transformation.
Thank you, Satish.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much, Satish.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, what do you think, Ahmed? Is your
Yeah,
signal strong enough to say hello?
yeah, I hope so. Both my brain signal and my internet signal. So it's feeling tired already somehow. Had a long day, but yeah, in line with what Joe has shared at the moment, with the network, we're looking at ways where we can support uh, alumni and wider communities of Schumacher, and provide us a forum where we can share resources, financial and knowledge resources, and how we can sort of move these resources across projects across the world. And so, as part of the network, we're looking at the network now is on Hilo. It's an informal entity. It's just for us to gather and connect. We're also expanding, which Joe will talk about later on, our relationship with Hilo, the platform, because there's a lot of regenerative communities there. And so we're looking at, how we could work with the platform and also with other communities. So creating spaces of collaboration, with the other networks. And then we're looking at developing, yeah, this year coming, where we'll start working on developing an entity which has two functions. It's to create a co-budgeting or co-funding platform where people that, you know, a project and people that want to be funded, the community sort of funds that, and it's using sort of horizontal forms of governance and ownership. So every member is an owner of this entity. And if you want to look more into what we're thinking about, you can look at Open Collective as the platform we're using to create the legal entity and the financial structure, and also Co-Budget. It's a platform that enables creates a form where we can easily coordinate in how budgets move between projects and people propose these projects. And then, of course, that entity will also be receiving funding, and hopefully, you know, we'll be looking at creating funding, and we're also looking at, for example, you know, funding positions that operates the network, such as the network weavers and people that will be managing Schumie's Co and all that. So, and then it's open for other projects that are looking at, you know, also creating positions. It's not, it doesn't have to be a one-time thing. It could be over time. Of course, it depends on the finance, the fiscal capacity. So this is now will be worked on, and we're looking at talking to people to formulate the idea and how to structure it. We're talking to people from Inspiral and people that like came out of Inspiral to because they've done this before. They've created these structures, so we're gonna get some inspiration from them. But we also want to talk to people from the network, from Schumies, to see who has ideas and sort of ways we can create this entity. And another thing that we're looking at, and this is me passing on to Jorn, is Schumies could also be being a space where we can, it's an entity where we can create projects together. So it is it has the capacity of, let's say, like, you know, we can work on I forgot the word, but you know, there's a project, and you know, we're a team of people from the network that we can have a proposal for, to do the project, so we can come together under this entity to create work for ourselves, but also to create our own projects, such as what Joe hinted on, the Global Research in Action community, where we can research different things that are around regeneration across the globe, and create forums where we can get people to learn from each locale and what happens to certain forms or products or ideas in different places and with different cultures and people. So I'll pass on to you to expand on that.
Thanks, Ahmed. So where I came into this mix was coming with an idea to the network where essentially, what if we could do regenerative work in the world and cross-finance regenerative education with it? So establishing a way of working and an entity structure, and we've, like with Joe, we've been exploring that quite a lot, of how we, like, where Schumacher should probably have, you know, a regenerative arm in the world where there's some impact, where there's hands-on regeneration in decentralized bioregional forms, and where the profit structure is set up in such a way that it feeds into a business plan where Schumacher can become financially independent, where it can self-fund with taking action, and so it can become a positive feedback loop for change, while also establishing the foundations for regenerative learning. a concrete product which I came with was plant-based humic acid, which is a key ingredient for regenerating soils and feeding into regenerative agriculture and farming. But it is also an amazing supplement for human health and all sorts. And so one idea that sprang from this is, so it is innovative because it was so far just from brown coal. And the plant-based initiative and plant-based product is revolutionary in that it is fully clean, it is renewable, it is from organic waste and trees, and it is non-toxic, non-polluted with heavy metals, and it can be doing good and feeding that into soils and into regenerative agriculture, which nature takes thousands of years to produce by itself. And so, in that regard, what we thought we could do was utilize the network and the regenerative community that we have to test this product, to do research on this product, to engage this in hands-on regenerative research, but not only on the quantitative side, but also on the qualitative side, because we're actively we're seeing that in the spirit of soul, and society. If we regenerate souls, it provides for communities. There is livelihoods, there's community work, and so what we would, just as a teaser, we're preparing is like an outreach towards the spring of engaging our wider network in something of a, having many different places and centers and people with land, people with communities where they would love to engage in hands-on regeneration, and where we could become a global research and data gathering community, and having a centralized way of feeding that in, but then also where humic acid becomes more as a catalyst and vehicle rather than just a product or technical fix, and it's sort of a catalyst for regenerating lands and people and places and communities. So just to tease this, but there's something in the pipeline ready to be shared pretty soon. And Joe, you can add to what I forgot, but that's essentially where we're at the moment. Having an entity vehicle that is about regenerative impact, and yeah.
Thank you for that. I'll try and keep it brief, but I'm really, really, really excited about this for so many reasons. The primary one is it's a tangible, physical. I don't like the word product. I have to find more better language because it's a molecule. It's a gift from literally this earth that, through accidental invention, was like something that we now have the ability to be of service to. And so yes, this very much is this soil soul society type of opportunity. And as a global action research project in that kind of post-qualitative, integrating the more than human and multi-species dimensions into this through engaging with all these different places, identifying the bioregions, and utilizing that platform Hilo, which I think a lot of you are on, and for some it's still like an adjustment period and getting used to it. And I just attended a call yesterday with updates around the platform's user experience. The whole system is going to be updated in the next month and a half or so to be even more user friendly and have even better integrative mapping technology. And I don't have the exact figures on me, but something like 7,700 new members joined the Greater Hilo network last year. And some of them, like the Planetary Health Alliance, have like 3,300 members already, and they're mapped all around the world, and you can see where they are, what projects they're a part of. And what's beautiful about Hilo is you can have a closed group or a porous and open group where there is this chance for cross-pollinating and working together on projects. And so when I was on this Hilo end of year call where they're introducing the new platform, I brought up this project, and the Hilo team was very excited about it as a potential thing that we could implement across the whole entire Hilo network, and as an invitation just to see if other organizations and networks might want to join us on this. exploratory mission with very tangible research on the humic acid and its benefits, but also how it's integrating with or affecting positively and negatively the cultures and communities that it is coming into, and doing so not as a solution and hero kind of story, but rather, finding the local populations, indigenous communities, asking them where they might see its application, as a viable thing or not, and accumulating that data between all of our networks, because there's so many regenerative projects and there's so many different entities and organizations, and very few of them are actually working together on any sort of project. So this can be a kind of grand vision, but a very simple application of just like saying we're all wanting to see how this new molecule, and amazing potential to literally halt and regenerate the depleting soils, which I'm sure most of you all know are in dire need of help. This humic acid can literally, with the help of other organic material and compost, etc., stop the degradation and revitalize the soil and allow it as a catalyst to just carry on and be strong again, detoxify it and regenerate it. So anyways, be on the lookout. Ahmed, Yerin, and I, and a few others, we want to have like a couple months of incubation and really like preparation for this project. But for you all on the call now and anyone listening in the future, this is, I think, the opportunity and invitation that Satish has said, all of our lecturers at Schumacher have told us. It's like we have this opportunity to not just worry about what's coming, but to just take action. Whether or not it'll work, like just to say, let's go, let's try some things out, and try to do it with that conviviality and care and like ability to just lead with trust, lead with respect for ourselves, each other, and the more than human multi-species ecologies we're a part of. And it does take participation, and that is the challenge. But this humic acid and this product, which again, the language of, even with like organic waste, we have to work on our storytelling, people, language wise. Anyways, what I'm getting at is, and Jörn pointed to it, it actually has the ability to generate profits in our current economic paradigm in a way that can infuse the capital of money and energy back into these places. So it's just a really exciting thing that I think a lot of people might have fun participating in. And so I'll pause there because I get super excited, and we want to spend a lot more time talking with you all about this. But I don't know, maybe we can pause for a minute for questions or thoughts. Otherwise, Guido might want to share a little bit about a living project that he's a part of as well, within our Schumieverse as well. But any questions before we jump into that?
No questions, but just a reflection or a mirroring or just my perspective that sounds fabulous and super exciting. And I very much look forward to reading or hearing or seeing what comes next. So that's really great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I'll jump in if there are other questions. So yeah, I wanted to share a little bit about what's happening and what has been happening after the end of my EDT course from August 2024. A group of the last students of the college, 2 from EDT, Anna and me, and then some students from the regenerative farming course, some of the BScs. We grouped ourselves basically, and we're building on someone's activity that was preceding coming to Schumacher, and that person would be Jacopo, and it's agroecological consultancy. So we're building on that work, and we're teaming up together to bring that work forward. So we're basically developing 2 projects at the same time at the moment. And one is that permaculture agroecological consultancy entity that would have projects in different places, that actually already has projects in different places in Europe, to see and design and consult and suggest regenerative ecosystemic changes within agroecological systems. And the other strand of work is, as a team, start one of these projects in Devon, not far from Totnes, actually. And in that situation, we've been given access to 6 acres of land to start regenerative practices within a wider estate, which is moving in that direction. So this is in a nutshell what's happening, or has been happening.
That's awesome. And Guido, maybe just because you're as the high-low team, one of the team weavers and better, I don't know, technical people, you're gonna add this. Wait, I should know this, but you've added the project onto high-low? Yes.
I actually haven't added the project yet.
Okay, I was thinking I hadn't seen it yet, but this is good because it's a segue. Like this is a good invitation for Guido, but for anyone who's working on a project, even if it's still in the baking stage of becoming manifest, like to share what we're up to and just giving others the opportunity to say, "Oh, that's interesting. Do you need help?" or add questions or just find ways to participate with each other, right? I think that's the thing about Hilo, and I'm just going to keep championing it because I do believe it does take effort and participation, and sometimes we don't have the energy or capacity. And if we don't see things, we don't know they exist, and so that's just a place for us to see what's happening. And so, Guido, thank you in advance for putting that on there because I've read your business plan and it's awesome. And yeah, maybe there's a couple of people in the Totnes area who could help as well, or worldwide too. But yeah. Emma likes that. Does anyone else here who's on the call who has anything going on want to share, like a project, a paper, a book, an interesting tidbit of information that they just wanted to share as a general update? It's okay if you don't, but please feel free to like say, I'm in my back garden growing turnips and it's going marvelously, or whatever it might be.
I could add up to that. I'm mostly in my office growing a PhD, and I added it yesterday thanks to Davi, who encouraged me to join the call today. And also, yeah, I saw there's already a couple of projects, but it needs to grow. And I think Joe and me have been in touch, I think a while ago, because I'm working on rights of nature and more from an academic but also creative perspective. And I was quite lucky. It's been a project that kind of developed during my volunteering period at Schumacher. So very inspired by the Schumacher spirit without having studied there. I think that's also quite a different experience to volunteer and to kind of be able to just take in the vibe and make my own thing out of it. But yeah, now I'm in London with that PhD. So if anyone wants to have a conversation around that, I've been in touch with a few, but also other things, happy to share. And I think there's also quite a lot going on sometimes on the WhatsApp groups, not to forget about that. Maybe we need to link those two spheres a bit more. That's just something that I'm aware of. Yeah. Thank you.
I will jump in on after Imke. Yeah, it's been quite interesting to be in the place for its like composting process. Just want to bring up the fact that we're meeting every week, the whole community that is stayed around in the area. It's been quite beautiful, and yeah, I just like to bring this like local human factor that we are people and we meet, and there was social aspect of the college as well for everybody, especially, and maybe especially for international students or people, or yeah, people different ages as well, leave the college in a different way. So it's quite interesting to hold some sense of like human-based interaction. And yeah, I was the last resident to leave the building, the opposite. So I kind of feel this like compost work being done on the ground with the people. And yeah, everybody who comes around the area or is close by, we're meeting every Thursday. And yeah, everybody, literally, like staff, students, teachers, volunteers, everybody joins whenever they're around, and we come check in and be with each other. So I think it's a nice aspect also to keep alive, and yeah, being aware that it's also happening in the floor, in the ground.
Thank you, Deborah. That's so beautiful. And I was thinking, this is a good opportunity to, well, invite you or anyone in that group to maybe share like a little reflection piece on that. And the Schumacher magazine is now live again. Georgie's not on the call or any of the, I think, core team, but that's an exciting, new entity of the roots and shoots of where the college still lives on. And then our newsletter through the network as well. It would be so lovely to hear some of the stories from those weekly. I mean, you just shared it right now, which I'm grateful for, but it's just so nice to know that. And if you or anyone felt like, a little storytelling around that further, it would be really lovely to see some pictures, hear some stories. Yeah. Thank you for helping host that space.
Just want to quickly share that I managed to get some funding from Dancing Otherwise community, and if anyone is around Devon in February, location is still not clear, but most likely it will be in Backfistly. So I'm offering a workshop on new materialism there. Probably I will collaborate with Rachel Sweeney and another dancer. So if you're around, come along. And generally, it was lovely to see everyone, and Satish is so inspiring.
Thank you, Marina.
I think Rachel wanted to share something too.
Yeah, right.
Third time lucky. Me or the other Rachel? Me?
You.
Okay. Okay, thanks. I'm going to be really daft. Okay, I don't have anything particularly deep to bring, but I'm going to share the two things and say thanks to everyone who's put up with my coming later to the party daft questions and things. But I'm going to share some photos from the field, and this is the great carrot, and I'm learning a lot from great carrot. This is her on the left. If you can see her on the left there, and she's looking a little bit ashamed. She's got her back to you. She's looking a bit embarrassed. So she's first of all the carrot of perspective. So she's kind of there. She's looking a bit more comfortable there with her kind of nakedness. Little bit of still kind of covering up. Not quite sure what's going on. But just to show you, it's a complete matter of perspective. Here she is as the carrot of acceptance. That's the very same carrot. Has everybody got that? And I love this. I don't know who ate this carrot. We grew it in the field at Exeter Growers Co-op. And she's just I love taking photos and sharing them from up there. And she's just been the Great Carrot's been a fantastic, fun, and thought-provoking inspiration. So I just wanted to share that and kind of sense of daftness and beauty of nature. So thank you for that.
It's so beautiful. We gave ourselves 2 hours, but if everyone feels good, you know, we have our physical worlds to return to, you know, so like we can hang out for a little bit longer and chat, but honestly, I find the digital fatigue is quite real, and I love seeing all these faces in little rectangular boxes, but I also have a child and partner outside who would love to see me as well in the physical realm. And thank you all for tuning in again in the virtual recorded future present moment you're in. One last thing I wanted to say in regards to Schumacher College, Schumacher Wild, Schumacher Global Network, all these things we're weaving together is we were thinking about having a Roots and Shoots in the Equinox. And actually, and this, I realized I wanted to say this earlier, but we are getting a little bit of funding through a collective pot of funding to kind of support these new tendrils. It's not very much, but we have a second round of funding that we're going to be hopefully applying for very soon and getting at the end of January. And part of that energy and money will be to have a more robust, maybe couple day virtual where we can do a more show and tell and have updates in 3 months' time, including this global action research project. And so that's just an invitation to have a think about any project you're either cooking up, already actively doing, or what have you. Just reach out to us through Hilo or email or however you might, and let us know. Like we want to celebrate what's going on and connect all these things. And we might be going in different directions with the vision of what our Schumie journey and what it needs to be in the future. And I think that's okay too. We come from different perspectives, different cultures, different generations, and I think this is a time for us to say all of it, as long as it's more good than bad in whatever way we can measure that. Let's try and support each other and play nice together. So just thank you all, and yeah, really any questions or thoughts, please do speak up. Otherwise, we can just sign off early and go about our merry ways on this solstice day. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you, Joe
Thank you.
and
Thank
Ahmed
you.
and everybody.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I hope everybody has a wonderful time of year with whatever you celebrate. See you next year.
Yes.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
everyone. Thank you for
Okay,
joining.
thanks
Hope to
everyone.
see you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You.